Alright, so I don't actually know where I'm going to film this video. It's coronavirus, it's
the future of mankind.
So I guess high up, see the people. Let's go.
Look at this dude.
Higher than I anticipated. Yeah, I think I might actually be scared of heights. If only I could go up there. Alright, so kind of sad actually. That used to be open. Now it's very locked up, but I would have been able to film out there. Which I don't know if you can see, but that view would have been literally amazing. There was some incident with some guy throwing something off it, but whew. Okay, the quest for a filming location goes on. This is actually a trick of light. I was not, in fact, jaywalking. Please don't arrest me. That intro was a little different to the stuff I usually do, but I just thought it would be kind of fun to show probably the hardest process of making a video, which is finding a good place to record. I decided to do it in this cafe. So yeah, enjoy. As a child, someone whose voice hasn't dropped yet, as it was politely put in the comments, it can feel like if everyone stays inside and wears a mask, at some point the pandemic will tire out and we will return to normal. I'm sure many of you, even adults, can relate to this almost periodic feeling that has been portrayed, but maybe that's not the case. In this video, I'm going to look at the long-term economic changes and how it will impact day-to-day life. See, I like to look at dystopian subjects on this channel, so we'll be focusing on the scary systems put in place to help reduce the collateral damage that the pandemic has caused. To start off with, I think it's important to explain why the coronavirus will have long-term effects and can't just be nipped in the bud, and eventually die out. Well, while many scientists believe that lockdown, face masks, etc. will prevent the imminent spread, you have to accept that at some point it could keep spreading, even if it is on a smaller scale. See, while we put these restrictions and procedures in place without a lockdown that is literally the government and other agencies give you food and you cannot leave your house under any circumstance, then people make contact. And even if it is just a sliver of the population ignoring simple rules that are there to help us, COVID could, in theory at least, never die out. That's why I'm making this video, because I think it's important that you know the new world that we could be stepping into, however scary that world may be. A certain president is just too optimistic, saying, "The coronavirus is not a concern to our health as Americans," is a nice sentiment to keep people calm, but at the same time, people are dying. So, welcome to the scary future of the impact the coronavirus could have on the future of mankind. So, I know this is obvious and you're probably sick of hearing about it. It's on the TV, it's in the newspaper. It feels like people all around the world are talking about the fragile state of the economy. But that doesn't mean that I can ignore it. It's a pretty key part of the post-COVID future, so is it really as bad as everyone says? Truth is, yes and no. While it is bad, as usual, people are a little too pessimistic. The original estimate from the Bank of England was for a 14% economic slump, but it has now readjusted its viewfinder to 9% as of August 12th and could keep going down. A recession is when, instead of going up, it goes down. Bad. This is all in the abstract. What can it mean for the individual in the coming years is less jobs, companies pay less, and because of the reduction of tax coming in from less pay, this means the government have less money to pay on so-called luxuries, such as benefits, public services, and government workers' wages. Again, extra bad. Of course, that's not ideal, but I think that a fragile economy is doing something much worse than less jobs and less pay. Many governments all over the world are scrambling to try and repair their dying economy, but why so frantic? I love creepy topics on my channel, and while this is definitely over the top, maybe it's because, in theory, They may get paid less during a recession. I'm not accusing anyone, but it is a possibility. While that could be a positive, it gives them a motive to work hard, this leads to lockdown easing being rushed. That means that people could die because of this race to fixing their own cash flow. Again, that's just a theory. A film theory. No, I'm not MatPat, sadly. So how will it affect retail? Supermarkets being the one thing that saw a rise of over 30% in the first lockdown months. Yeah, that was a lot of panic buying. However, it is predicted that, all in all, they too will end up losing money. Retail as a whole has been on out even before the virus. Truth is that less and less people are going to the high street because of online shopping. In a way, lockdown could have been the killing blow. Now, that doesn't mean that the UK has given up, with Boris's £1 billion plan to save the high street from the dark world of clicking the add to basket button and making the world's richest man just that little bit richer. But, of course, supermarkets will survive. They are needed, with online food shopping not yet reaching its full potential. However, a study from Ipsos Mori, I have no idea how to pronounce that, revealed that a staggering 43% of Brits only feel comfortable shopping in supermarkets. That does have an end date. That is arguably less a long-term effect and more a reflection of the world that we now live in. That image was destroyed with another survey, showcasing that over a quarter of respondents said the pandemic would indefinitely change the way they shopped. A huge 47% of the time, humans are on autopilot, with their mind wandering. What this means is that they fall into patterns very easily. I believe shoppers could have just got used to e-commerce. A lot of the time it's cheaper and easier, and I think that retail shops should be working on some serious marketing to either try to survive in the online marketplace or to prove why shopping is still viable in the current climate. But Mordecai, your channel's about scary and dystopian things. This is just interesting. Come on, Alright, maybe you guys have a point. Let's get some scary stuff. So let's say that retail does survive and strives. What new and scary technologies will be at play to keep the virus at bay? I found an interview with Venkata Naveen, a tech analyst at Global Data, very interesting. Here are some key points. Retailers are leveraging artificial intelligence in the Internet of Things and virtual reality to offer hygiene-centric shopping experiences to customers. Most of it being about trying to increase the consumer's confidence with the new retail experience. But most interesting of all, tech-enabled applications like virtual queuing, Footfall Analytics, contactless payments, self-checkout and chatbots have suddenly seen an uptick at point of sale for retailers. We should probably break that down, starting with virtual queuing. This one's quite simple. A lot of this is about limiting the time shoppers have to spend inside the shop, as it's a big spreader for the virus. You're given a number and then you wait your turn in a queue. Pretty simple. Next is Footfall Analytics. This one's a little more interesting. This quote explains it quite well. As such, Footfall Analytics is an advanced method for counting people who enter a store and developing insights from that info. Essentially, it's counting technology crafted to give people an insight into consumer habits and other relevant information. You promised us scary like 30... Well, it's what this information that can be used for that starts to make it a little more dystopian. Advertisers can buy this information of shoppers and when they're in stores, what gender those shoppers are, and pretty much all they need to know. The worst part of it is that they're selling it as life-saving, coronavirus-stopping technology, which leaves us the last one, chatbots. This is a form of AI, much like Alexa or Google Home, but up until now it has been very text-based. It will answer your questions and queries, but is only really used in banks and has a very basic machine inside it. Hey Siri, is it anywhere as good as you?
It is nowhere near my intellect levels.
But that might be about to change. And if it is put to its full potential for investment, it could replace many retail workers' jobs, with the need for an actual person being there getting lower and lower. Here is a quote from an article I found by Retail Gazette. talking about some of the positive uses of this AI. In just the last few weeks, the UK government has launched a coronavirus information service on WhatsApp, an automated chatbot with trustworthy and timely information and advice about COVID-19. That is one of the many great uses, but like most good things, it could be very dangerous in the wrong hands. I've watched enough Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to be a bit skeptical when people are trying to improve AI. Ada? You didn't even get that reference because you didn't even watch it. How sad. Imagine not getting the reference. Wasted? That's been the best life of my life. That's been the best time I've ever experienced. I'll post this online, you'll be cancelled. You'll be cancelled. They heard. They can hear. I'm live streaming right now. We now understand how the economy and the retail industry will change and even what new technologies will be in place to facilitate said change. But what about new machines in general that will be a part of everyday life? If there is one thing that a pandemic does, it's speed up human developments as people experiment and try to save what little we have left. That went dark very quickly. One of the hardest things for pandemics is tracking their movements. If you reach the stage of stalking it, it would be much easier to predict where it would strike next. This can lead to the development of AI that can predict huge amounts of unstructured data and kind of understand potential new cases by area and which type of population will be most at risk, as well as to evaluate and optimize strategies for controlling the spread of the particles. That use of AI is positive, but much like the Footfall Analytics, it can also be used for bad. The next technology that we're going to take a look at is drones. Now, I have a drone, a Maverick Mini in fact. I love using it, and while my confidence in flying needs a bit of work, I really do want to improve. Well, near the start of lockdown, the higher-ups were searching for a way of delivering food to people's doors without them leaving their homes. It didn't get very far, hence why our households shop every 2 weeks. That doesn't mean that advances weren't made in that time frame. Even if it failed in the UK, some countries are actually using it as a way to monitor quarantine measures, to facilitate aerial broadcasting, to spray disinfectant, conduct aerial thermal sensing, monitor traffic and deliver medical supplies in infected areas. The need for this means the rewriting of drone apps, and this has created a more reliable and effective way to use them. Again, this can also be used for bad.
I'm beginning to see a pattern here that I'm not so sure if I like.
It could be used to monitor people against their will. Thank you, Pewds. Yes, I'm using words you said to fit my agenda. You're welcome.